been a pretty slow week of transactions and trades and such, but there have been a few things that I do want to talk about. So, we left off last weekend. Sundays made their signing of starting pitcher Zach Plesac for 1 year and $1 million official on Sunday. He will contend for a spot in the rotation. It's a pretty, so I would say, mediocre to weak rotation. Um, Now that Otani has left and he won't be pitching anyways in 2024 either for the Dodgers. But they were at full in their 40-man roster, so they had to outright Adam Kolarek, left-handed pitcher, who was a relief pitcher. And they had signed in the offseason just about a month ago or so to make room for Plesac. So signed Plesac and outrighted Kolarek to make room. Following that is the Mets and Shota Imanaga, who originally was with the A's. He's a nice guy. He's been a decent pitcher. He's had his ups and downs. The Mets and Sean came to a 2-year deal agreement with an opt-out after this upcoming season for 2024. It is worth $28 million in total. And they also bolstered up their outfield with center fielder Harrison Bader and on a 1-year, $10.5 million deal that has $350,000 worth of incentives attached to it. So I know that Nimmo had just signed an extension. No, Nimmo won't be pushed out from center field for the entire season, but Bader will be playing in center field for, uh, a good amount of time. He has to get his at bats and all of that. That's why they signed him for the 1 year. We'll see what happens as far as the Nimmo situation. The Mets have not made any mention or comment on that. Continuing on, the Dodgers continuing their Dodger deal. Building up that super team for 2024. They added outfielder Teoscar Hernandez to a 1-year deal worth $23.5 million. But the kicker, only $15 million of that deal will be going to Teoscar in 2024. The rest of that money, which would be $8.5 million, will be deferred because the Dodgers love deferrals through the years 2030 to 2039. So $8.5 million spread out those 10 years will go to Teoscar in deferred payments. Moving on to Monday, this past Monday, to start off the week, Cardinals hired Chaim Bloom to be an front office, quote unquote, part-time advisory role, as their president of baseball operations put it. He doesn't have a real title per se. Bloom is known for not doing well in Boston, but he's had a pretty good, I would say, run in the front office. So Cardinals just want to give him that part-time advisory role and see how he does. He's not attached to the minor leagues, the major leagues, any department, analytics, etc. So that's what is going to happen with Bloom as far as that. Unfortunately, on Monday, former MLB infielder and manager Billy Gardner passed away at the ripe old age of 96 years, according to the Hall of Fame. He won 2 World Series rings, one with the New York Giants when they were back in New York City in 1954 as a rookie, he had his contract sold to the Orioles, slipped in right as their second baseman, and then towards the end of his career, he won another World Series ring with the Yankees. He did not win anything as far as World Series being a manager. So that was it for Monday. So rest in peace, Mr. Gardner. Um, he had a long and very, very uh, successful career as a player, seems like. Tuesday, the Marlins announced that they are hiring Rachel Belkovec as their farm director, which is a new position for a woman. Um, and she just came off of 2 years uh, as manager in the minor leagues for the Yankees. So she has been the manager, and the Marlins felt that her time in the minor leagues suited her to be in this position as a farm director. Wednesday, Shota Imanaga finally chose a team. It was more like Tuesday night, late Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning, that the Cubs announced that Imanaga and himself had come to terms on a 4-year deal worth $53 million. It does have a club option for 2028. Um, there are also reportedly incentives that can make this deal worth up to $80 million. Um, so his valuation early on in the offseason of about 85 to $100 million was just a little bit off. I myself actually was very surprised at the fact that he did not get $100 million. There are reports that a team actually offered double what he is receiving from the Cubs, but he decided that he would not go to that team. There are no names as far as to what team this was. I just know that the Angels and the Giants were in on the race until the very end, and then all of a sudden they both scattered and went to different directions. On Thursday, Marcus Stroman and the Yankees, a very interesting pairing to say the least, agreed to a 2-year deal worth $37 million and has a vesting option for 2026 if he throws 140 plus, I should say 140 innings or more in 2025. Um, like I said, an odd match, but Stroman has gone to bat to respect and help out some Yankees players. Uh, in most note, Anthony Volpe, after a game that they lost badly, but he had his first major league home run that night, and someone made some comments, and Stroman basically said, "You know what? You're never gonna do that in your life. You'll never hit a major league home run. So why don't you go back and give this kid some respect? Let him, bathe in the glory that he's having tonight." So Stroman, a very vocal person, if you know who he is and how he is on X, on Instagram, and such. He likes to talk, and he's not afraid to say what's on his mind, because that's just not the person he is. So Stroman, Yankees, 2 years with a possible third year in 2026. On Thursday as well, the Dodgers and the Cubs made a swap that I would say helped the Cubs in the short term, with them receiving top prospect Michael Bush, infielder, who's had a little bit of major league experience last year in 2023 with the Dodgers, as well as bullpen arm in Yency Almonte. Uh, he's his best year, Yency, was in 2022. The Dodgers, in turn, received left-handed pitcher and top prospect in Jackson Ferris, who's 19 years old, and just to make the deal a bit more fair, 18-year-old outfield prospect Zaire Hope. So Zaire Hope and Jackson Ferris for Michael Bush and bullpen arm Yancy Almonte. Again, between Cubs and Dodgers, um, Bush is most likely going to be the opening day first baseman for the Chicago Cubs after that deal has been made and official. On Friday, today, the big news that was announced was the Giants added to the team flamethrower Jordan Hicks to a 4-year deal worth $44 million. So that's $11 million AAV hit to their team and their tax threshold. The interesting news that was noted with this transaction is the fact that he will reportedly get the chance to be a starting pitcher. As a starting pitcher, Hicks has only had 8 games in the year 2022 season of 2022 for the Cardinals before he was traded to the Jays. He started 8 games, had a ERA over 5. I believe he pitched about 30 innings. He's more of an opener than a real starter that will go 5, 6, 7 innings. Uh, you know, I think it's going to be very interesting to see what the Giants do with Hicks if he bounces between being an opener or being a closer or there's someone in the middle there for their bullpen. The rotation is not terrible, but it doesn't necessarily need Jordan Hicks. And Jordan Hicks doesn't have the arsenal for a starting pitcher, to say the least. He's got the sinker, slider, fastball. Obviously, he's throwing over 100 miles an hour. That's his kind of forte. Fastball, sinker. And that's been it for the week, everyone. Sad to say, unfortunately, there's no Snell news, no Montgomery news. We'd like to know where those two guys are going because those are the last two top tier ace type pitchers, unless you're talking about a Dylan Cease trade. Those all happened. And you know that arbitration just happened. Let me pull up a few names. Some teams that did not come to terms with their players were the following: Jason Adams, or Adam, Luis Arias, and the Marlins, Phil Bickard, Alec Bowman, Phillies, Jazz Chisholm Jr., and the Marlins, Danny Colomb, J.D. Davis, Mauricio Dubon, Tommy Edman, Adolis Garcia, and the Texas Rangers is an interesting one. Nick Gordon, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and the Blue Jays, Austin Hayes and the Orioles, Jonathan India and the Reds, Casey Mize and the Tigers, Ryan O'Hearn and the Royals, Sionel Perez, Harold Ramirez, Tanner Scott, Jose Suarez, and the Angels, Taylor Ward and Angels, Jacob Webb and Devin Williams and the Brewers did not come to terms as far as agreements for the next baseball season of 2024 and how much they will be getting paid. So what happens next there is all those players that I named and the teams that they belong to or play for will be going to arbitration hearings where one side will say they want a certain amount of money and the team will say they deserve a lesser amount of money, and then an arbiter will go ahead and decide based on performance in the last season or in previous seasons before that as well, and say whether or not the player is right or the team is right. Normally, in these situations, the team comes out on top, and it's very rare that these players win their arbitration cases, but it does happen. Uh, it's not as rare as a lot of other things, but I would say players like Reyes, um, Guerrero Jr., uh, Adolis Garcia, um, Taylor Ward, possibly Devin Williams. I mean, the difference between what they ask, Alec Boehm definitely has a chance of winning his case. Boehm is asking for $4 million. Phillies are saying 3.4. I mean, sometimes it just comes to tens of thousands, $100,000. $600,000 to us as fans, writers, content creators. Um, we think of $600,000. You're a billionaire. You're an owner of a team. What is $600,000 to you? Um, so we'll see what happens there with all those arbitration cases. Um, but to lighten the mood and end this episode, episode 2 of 2024, starting off with the Brett Beatty Topps Chrome 2023 rookie card. Um, so this will be going out on all the socials. It will be going out on TikTok. It'll be going out on Instagram, X, and YouTube. Drop a comment, drop a like, drop a sub. It helps the channel. It helps me out. Um, what you like carrying and all that. And I know that you love free stuff. So in 1 week, next Friday, I have a special interview going on. After that interview drops on Saturday, following day, I will announce the winner of the Brett Beatty card. So good luck.